Why has there been such a glorification of extremely early and insanely productive morning routines? All across social media, there's been a rise in day-in-the-life style videos detailing people's morning routines, and some of them seem too good to be true. Videos like these have started to set the standard for ideal living. Waking up at 5 a.m., going to the gym, taking a shower, doing your hair, making a beautiful breakfast that shines next to the windowsill, and your matcha latte have become the routine of people's dreams. In fact, compared to early birds, night owls are perceived as lazier, immature, and undisciplined. So why does this have such a large impact on us? Well, it's because it has such a large impact on our self-perception. When we start to scroll and look at all of these videos, we start to take them as an unrealistic description of what our life has to be like. We start to believe that in order to be successful, our life has to look like theirs. It's the teenage American dream. What time do you wake up in the morning?
Wake up at 7.
Do you have a consistent routine in the morning?
Yeah, I get up, I wash my face, then I straighten my hair, and then I put on my makeup, and then I get changed.
Do you often do your homework in the morning too?
No, I've never done my homework in the morning.
Okay. And how do you feel when you first wake up?
I'm usually really tired and I want to go back to bed, but I know I'm going to be mad at myself if I stay in bed, so I force myself out.
And what time do you get home from school?
If I don't have a meet, probably around 6, but if I have a meet, probably not till like 10 or 11.
When do you do your homework?
Either in school, like during lunch, I'll do it, or I have to do it like when I get home late at night.
And what time do you go to bed?
On a normal day, probably like 11, 11:30. But if it's a later day, maybe like 12:30.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how productive do you think you are on an average day?
I would say like 6.
Do you feel pressured by the extremely productive routines you see on social media?
I try not to look at them because I know that if I did, I probably would feel pressured to do more.
What was your old morning routine like and how long would it take?
Okay, so my old morning routine would take like 2 hours and 30 minutes maybe. I would get up like at 5, and then I would spend like my first like 30 minutes like getting an outfit ready because I used to not do that before bed. And then I would take a cold shower, spend like 40 minutes on doing makeup, and then I would like have a quick snack before I left to go to the bus.
What are some pros and cons of your old routine?
Well, I think some pros were that like I was up earlier, so I feel like I was more attentive like in my morning classes since I was like already awake. But some cons were just the fact that I became really dependent on like makeup and clothing to like feel good about myself. So it like really wrecked my self-esteem.
Do you currently have a consistent routine?
Yeah, I do. It kind of changes because I wake up at different times every day now, but like my routine stays like relatively the same.
On average, what time do you wake up now?
Like 7:30.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how productive do you think you are on an average day?
I think I would say around 7.
Do you feel pressured by the extremely productive routines you see promoted on social media sometimes?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like especially like on TikTok, you see like these like teenagers who have like a specific like setup routine, like, oh, at 5 a.m. I go on a run, at 5:30 I do this, and like that definitely like makes me feel a little like ashamed of my routine.
So I have a pretty similar experience to Ash when it comes to previous morning routines. I would often get into very exquisite and very complicated outfits, and that takes a lot of time and effort. So back then I'd have to get up around 5:30, immediately straight out of bed, get my outfit together, really make sure that's what I wanted to wear, and I'd have to brush my hair, have to go get a shower, brush my teeth, just breakfast in my face if I could. That takes about like 35 minutes. By 6, with my makeup, that takes around like 45 minutes if I really want to make it nice. Wig styling, so wear wigs, that would take anywhere from like 10 minutes to like an hour, depending on how much I was going to like work on it. 10 minutes for a touch up, and like an hour for just a full on like fixing it and getting it looking nice. On top of that, there's been many times where I have looked at myself in the mirror and said, this is not good enough, or I just simply don't like it and I have to just change everything completely last minute. And also I would wear contacts, which makes things a lot harder too, because putting contacts, I think, at least for me, takes a lot of focus because I don't want to like poke my eye out. When it comes to all of that, trying to do that every single day, that is like impossible. I've learned that doing that after a while is exhausting, it's draining, taxing. I just got sick of it. Like, it was just unrealistic. It was not the way I wanted to live, despite the fact that I felt like I needed to. I think social media especially, like sometimes I'll just catch these like really ideal get ready with me morning routines that are just the most like unrealistic way. Just the fact that everything is perfect and you have a great morning, relaxing, everything works out great. and you look amazing, and like it's not reality. Nowadays, I'm waking up at like 7:15, put on a sweater, sweatpants, sneakers, brush my teeth, eat a little bit of makeup, and like that's it. That's just way more comfortable. So with that, the whole getting ready in the morning is just completely unrealistic.
Day in the life has been perpetuated online, but is it really practical? Is waking up at 4 a.m. the secret to success? Well, countless scientific papers cite no. In fact, they cite that the early bird lifestyle isn't for everyone, and that waking up early can actually go against your body's genetic code. A study from Nature Communications found that after looking over 700,000 people, that over 350 genetic factors influence whether you're more awake in the morning or at night. And 47% of our chronotype or internal clock is inherited. The most important thing about your routine is that it works for you. Just because some random person online that you don't even know is waking up at the crack of dawn, making avocado toast, doing a 15-step skincare routine does not mean you have to do it too. Routines should work for you individually. There's such a diversity in routines because over time, people have tailored them to work for what fits for them.
When do you wake up in the morning?
Weekdays I wake up at about 5:05
Why do you wake up at this time?
because that's what time my wife sets the alarm clock for.
What is the first thing you do when you wake up?
Brush my teeth.
Do you have a consistent morning routine that you follow?
Yeah, I brush my teeth. Then I go on the Peloton because my wife doesn't use it anymore. So I figured if I'm paying for it, somebody should use it. Then I make my coffee, make my lunch, wake up the kids, and then start our day.
What time do you drop your kids off at school if you do?
I put the kids on the bus at around 7:30, and then I take Rowan to school and get her there by about like 7:50.
How do you help them get ready for school in the morning?
Depends upon which one. First off, I have to fight with them to get out of bed. None of them want to wake up and get out of bed. And I make them breakfast by putting in pretty much either Eggo waffles or Eggo French toast. Cut up some fruit, put some syrup on a plate, and then put toothpaste on their toothbrushes.
What do you usually have for lunch?
Either Costco protein bars or a Costco protein bar and a salad with chicken.
Do you ever think about packing more balanced meals or anything like that?
Well, the two protein bars are not very balanced. That's just out of ease. Just throw them in. The salad is somewhat balanced. It has meat and vegetables in it, I guess.
What is the last thing you do when you get home from work?
Probably sit on my phone for a little bit and either look at Twitter or play some nonsense game and then go to bed.
So what time do you go to bed?
Probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock.
What is the first thing you do when you get home from work?
I make my second cup of coffee.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how productive do you think you are on an average day?
Probably about like a 7.5.
What time do you wake up each morning?
I wake up at 7:05 exactly. I used to wake up at 6:51 and then snooze the phone for 9 minutes and then I wake up at 7. But now what I started to do is I snooze and I put my phone on the opposite side of the room. So to turn off the alarm, I have to get up. Now I get up and now my day started. So no more laying in bed scrolling until I absolutely have to get up.
So how do you feel when you first wake up?
A little groggy, but now that I started doing this thing by putting the phone away, I immediately open up. I have blackout shades. My room is pitch black, so I do that. I get sunlight. I stretch a little bit, brush my teeth. I go downstairs. I make my lunch for the day. I have my breakfast, which is usually powdered greens, which actually I have right here.
Oh my gosh, I knew you were going to say that.
Then I take a daily vitamin fish oil pill, vitamin D pill, and then a banana or a clementine or something. And then I head off to school. I try to go to the gym 5 to 6 times a week, but other than that, I'm in a band practice, which is a physical activity. Wrestling, we're doing off season every Wednesday, Thursday. I'm in a softball team, so I'm playing softball at least once a week. So yeah, almost every single day I'm doing something active. I'll leave at 7:45, and then I'll come home at 7:45 p.m. sometimes later.
And what's the first thing you do when you get home?
If I'm getting home that late, it would probably be eating, and then after that, finally I have time to relax. I'll play a video game or watch YouTube videos or anything like that. and then shower and get ready to do the same thing again tomorrow.
So what time do you go to bed usually?
I try to be in bed by 10, give myself an hour of maybe like going on social media and something like that, and then I try to like fall asleep by 11.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how productive would you say you are in an average day?
I'm pretty productive. I do a lot. Like when I'm working here, I'll have like maybe a podcast or something in the background and there's white noise, but I'll give myself like an 8.
Do you ever feel pressured by social media movements where people are like waking up at 5 a.m.?
I do, in the sense of like goal accomplishing, I suppose. Like I'm a big fan of Kobe Bryant, who like was a guy who like would wake up at 3, would work out, then like go home and work out again, then go home, and like all even like before like a game day. I've seen like Instagram videos of people like, I don't know how they do it, like they'll do like an ice bath. Like I want to do things like that, but I'm just like, there's no way I'm gonna wake up at that time. Some people like go outside and they get grounded. It's like they just stand barefoot outside, and like I'm not.
What?
I want to do, like people in California do that. Like they do like yoga barefoot, and like I'm grounded, I'm one with nature, and I'm like, I'm just not getting up at 4 to do that. I don't really feel pressure. It's just like, it was more just like, oh, I wish I could do that.
What time do you wake up in the morning on average?
Usually 5:30 to 6 a.m., sometimes up to 4:30 in the morning.
How many hours do you spend studying in an average day?
Maybe 1 to 3 hours. Usually I don't have too much time free.
What about before a big test?
If it's, semi-major test per day, saying 3-4 hours. If it's a really big exam, sometimes I have a dedicated time of 3 weeks straight.
What's the most you've ever studied in a day?
In a day, from when I wake up in the morning till maybe dinner time, 6 p.m., that's what, like 8 hours maybe?
How many hours do you work a day?
That varies. Maybe 9 to 12 hours, sometimes up to 16 to 24.
What's the first thing you do when you get home from work?
Get into some more comfortable clothing.
How many hours do you sleep in a day?
I try to get 6 to 8 hours a day.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how productive are you on an average day?
I'd say a good 8.
Do you feel pressured by seeing other students online posting their very productive days?
All the time. In medicine, there's a lot of variety in how people go about their day. People are in different points in life, different tracks, have different goals and different things that they're doing. So there's always that urge to want to do more and strive to do more. But you also got to realize that you can only go so far without sacrificing other parts of your life.
Sponsored by Kirkland Chocolate Chip Cookie Dough Protein Bar.
What time do you wake up every morning? Same.
How many hours of sleep do you get per day?